A war is underway in Washington, D.C. over a proposed rule change for the incoming Democratic new House majority. And that is focused on the inclusion of a pay-as-you-go provision. I'm gonna use a little bit of parliamentary speak. We're gonna explain what it means. The new rule establishes a point of order against any bill that increases the deficit within a 10-year budget window. The House could attach an emergency designation to legislation to get around the pay-go rule, hypothetically. The point of order could be waived by a majority vote of the House. Another way of reading that is the point of order would have to be overruled by a majority vote of the House. But the idea there is that hypothetically, if you had any sort of large scale legislation that affects a significant chunk of the economy, whether about education, real estate, healthcare, social security, all of those sorts of things, if it is rated by the CBO to raise the deficit, then hypothetically, it faces an automatic block if there's not offsetting budget cuts or tax increases, meaning that to get these things accomplished, you would have to do things that make it a lot harder to sell, or at least the idea is that you would make it harder to sell.
Okay, so this is monumental. This is everything. If they pass this rule that single-handedly kills Green New Deal, Medicare for all, college for all, and almost every other major progressive priority. Now, you think that's an accident? Of course not. The Democratic leadership doesn't want any of those progressive policies, and they think this is a cute way of killing it. What do you think, it's the 1990s? That there's no internet? That you'll just have the knuckleheads on television go, oh, well, it was just the arcane rules, I guess nobody cares. I got news for you, Nancy Pelosi and all the Democratic leadership, and yes, the Congressional Progressive Caucus. We know and we care. You're not gonna kill it in the middle of the night and have it go unnoticed. So let's talk about why. So when Republicans are in charge, they do not kneecap themselves. They don't pass, for example, tax go. Now, I made that up. What would tax go be? Well, it would be the equivalent of pay go, right? Tax go would be, hey, you're not allowed to cut taxes unless you find a way to pay for it. They never passed that. Why? Because they want to cut taxes on their donors and they want to be able to get away with it and put a $1.9 trillion hole in deficit, and they don't care. When Democrats get in and they have all these progressive policy priorities, but hey, if you can't pay for it by raising taxes, which then the Republicans will run ads against you on, which then Nancy Pelosi will turn around conveniently and go, well, golly gee, I can't have my purple state and red state Democrats have ads run against them because they're raising taxes, so we're not going to do that. That means we're not going to do anything at all. We'll dink and dunk, we'll do 5% change, and we'll get Morning Joe to sign off on it. Okay, no deal, no deal. So now, look, Nancy Pelosi being a corporate hack is a fact and unsurprising. When asked why you should be leader, she said, I raise the most money. In other words, I have the biggest corporate donors. She almost sounds like Trump. I have the strongest donors. I have the biggest donors. I'm surrounded by an island. I'm an island, I'm surrounded by big money, ocean money, okay? So I get it, Nancy, we all get it, okay? So that's not what I'm upset about today. What I'm upset about is right now there are only 2 people who have said they're gonna vote no. You're not gonna be surprised by their names.
You wanna see the tweets?
We will in a second. Okay. So the 2 people who have said they're going to vote no are Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ro Khanna. Now, the sound of silence from the other progressives is deafening, absolutely deafening. So Mark Pocan, who is the so-called leader of the Progressive Caucus, puts out a tweet about, hey, well, you guys, this is tied to something else, which is tied to another thing, and golly gee, we'd have to reverse something else. Oh, would that be difficult? Would that require you to work? I don't know Mark Pocan from Adam, okay? Everybody tells me he's a good progressive. Really? I'll believe it when I see it. And immediate unilateral surrender is not what good progressives do. They don't help Nancy Pelosi and the donors kill every single progressive priority as their first action. They do not do that. And what is heartbreaking right now, the vote hasn't happened yet. They've got a little bit of time. But right now, as things stand, Representative Pramila Jayapal, also leader of the Progressive Caucus, as far as we can tell, she has shown no inclination to vote no. if she votes yes for this, I mean, she is supposed to be our leader. And we do know Representative Jayapal, and she's been great in the past. But if she votes yes for this and kills every progressive priority, I got bad news for her. It is not going to go unnoticed. And we will then probably, if you go to make up for it in 1,000 different ways, probably tell people the 1,000 different ways you've tried to make up for it. And they will hold that grudge for the rest of their lives. Go ask Elizabeth Warren on whether she supported Bernie Sanders and whether people have let that go or not, okay? And that was on a thing that was about politics. It wasn't even about policy. You kill all of our policies in one fell swoop. I don't care what the excuses are, and no progressive's gonna care what the excuses are. So anyway, think about it. Let's see what happens.
There's no more being able to act like you don't know how things work anymore. So as you said, there's the age of information. Voters know more than what, at least previous to what they were allowed to be known or had to access to. So you could say to voters, hey, this is what's gonna happen because I said so, and generally people would believe them. Now that there's people that come out and actually have a real approach to the way things go, when you make these decisions, people will point them out, but it still needs to be proven. There's this thought that, oh, there's these young voters, there's these progressives, they don't really know what they're doing, they're just out here radically wide-eyed and mad. And then they made this one decision and a couple seats got flipped, but you know what, we're gonna continue to do what we always do, and they're gonna forget about it because they're young and they're dumb. Something needs to be proven finally. So after the fight comes, the hard part now is continuing to fight when you think you won. So there's this celebration, oh look, we got this, we got that. Even when Obama came in, we got this, we got that. But there still needs to be enough of a pushback saying, but you said this, and we're gonna demand that you do this. Yeah. And until that happens, and if we fail to do that, the next cycle they'll go, oh, that's right, we were right. They are young, dumb, and just reactionary, and they don't know how this whole thing works. When Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez comes in, you know what they kept saying about her? Look at this young woman, doesn't know what she's doing. What does she know about civics? What does she know about government? And that's what they think about everyone else. She's representative of what they think the rest of the voting bloc is.
Well, in reality, as you point out, Jayar, she's the only one that actually apparently, along with Ro Khanna, that actually does know the import of it. Actually understands how policy works and how legislation works. Man, I can't believe they think they're gonna trick us. I'm gonna go to Pelosi's deputy chief of staff after John gives you the tweets from the good guys, and he thinks he's so clever. God, what children. They think they're playing three-dimensional chess. Didn't we go through that with Obama already? And then at the end of this three-dimensional chess, Trump becomes president. Oops, you guys don't know anything. You don't know anything. You're not gonna get this past people. All you're gonna get is rage. All right.
Yeah, maybe back in the 80s, people wouldn't have known about the rules changes or whatever. But like, I mean, this is kind of like our job. Like, I play a little bit of Fortnite, he works on his car, you play with your kid. And other than that, we're watching you. That's all we do.
That's all we do.
That's all we do. So anyway, I wanna give credit to the two who deserve it, including Ro Khanna, who's gonna be on the Damage Report on Friday to talk about this issue. Hopefully they won't have already had the vote by then, or they'll have had it and succeeded. But Ro said, I will be voting no on the rules package with PAYGO. It is terrible economics. The Austerians were wrong about the Great Recession and Great Depression. At some point, politicians need to learn from mistakes and read economic history. AOC said, tomorrow I will also vote no on the rules package, which is trying to slip in PAYGO. PAYGO isn't only bad economics, as Ro Khanna explains, it's also a dark political maneuver designed to hamstring progress on healthcare and other legislation. We shouldn't hinder ourselves from the start. I will go even further as saying it's not only bad politics and all of what they've said, it also reinforces BS right-wing narratives about how left-wing priorities cost money, but right-wing stuff is just free. Yeah. Everything it just magically, just hand them money, it doesn't matter. You don't balloon the deficit, even though that's happened under Donald Trump. It is bad in pretty much every way it could be bad.
Yeah, and in fact, Ro makes another point that's fantastic. He says, I do not understand why Democrats don't have the courage of our convictions and make the case that our policies will lead to growth. And in our case, that's actually true. Green New Deal creates jobs, which leads to more growth. Medicare for all actually brings down healthcare costs, which actually helps the economy and helps the federal budget at the same time. We've got to actually believe it, but the thing is, that's exactly where the rub is. Nancy Pelosi doesn't actually believe any of those things. This is not a rule change designed to go after Republicans. This is a rule change designed to go after progressives. Since Nancy Pelosi is not remotely a progressive, and I was right about that, I'll take apologies from every establishment figure right now, okay, who said, oh no, you don't know, maybe she'll propose all sorts of progressive priorities. No, she's trying to kill every single one of them with one rule. Of course she is. Of course she is. Nancy Pelosi, a progressive, preposterous. No, she does this to say, haha, look at what I did to you guys. I took away all your power, and now you're gonna vote for it? Understand this, they only need 18 votes to block it. They don't need 18 Republican votes. They just need 18 Democratic votes to block it.
Although some could be Republican.
Yeah.
We would like that, by the way.
Yeah, well, no. You need the Republican votes plus 18 Democratic votes, okay? So now they say, oh, but I mean, that would be voting against Nancy Pelosi. And let me ask in a very clear way, so what? So what? What are you gonna do? You're gonna let her vote Medicare for all down, then why are you in office?
Exactly.
But why? And I gotta ask, Representative Jayapal, why do you have a Medicare for All PAC and a Medicare for All caucus if you're gonna vote yes on PAYGO? You know that Nancy, I don't mean to be insulting, but you know that Nancy Pelosi is gonna use this vote against you, right? The minute you vote for PAYGO, and you try to bring out Medicare for All, she's gonna say, oh, Representative Jayapal, I'm so sorry to hear that. But under my rules that you voted yes on, and you encourage the Progressive Caucus to vote yes on, we can't have that.
Yeah.
Don't pull, I mean, that's what, it's a Republican trick. Don't fall for that trick, it's a trap. You only need 18 votes. The Progressive Caucus has dozens upon dozens of members. It's the largest caucus right now. Yeah. It could easily defeat this. So
she has to know how it works. So now it's always the age-old question: is it they don't know, or they don't care to, or act like they don't know and just gonna let it just go? There's policies that are signature for her, as you're pointing out, and they're gonna get shut down just in this way. It has to be asked specifically and directly to her to see if this is what you really want to get yourself involved with.
Now, well, so obviously we're saying this, we're hoping that some of them will be watching, but all of you watching can also help because this vote has not happened yet. You can put pressure on these people. We need 16 other votes. You can probably think of quite a few of those. A lot of their names that we praise very often on this show. You can reach out directly to those people. A lot of them are particularly known for being active on social media and responsive to the needs of the people who message them. So now is the time to let them know that this is not some small procedural background thing. This is something you're watching, this is something you'll remember, and they need to know that.
Small thing, you remember when after the primaries, after the midterms, everyone said, hey, you know what? These Democrats are gonna come in and they're gonna raise hell for Trump. Hasn't started yet. And also, hey, don't come in too hot on Trump because you know you don't want to waste all your political capital just on trying to get him out of office. And also, who was supporting Nancy Pelosi for the speakership suddenly? And everybody said, I wonder why the president suddenly loves Nancy Pelosi. She got in office, he goes, she's a strong fighter as much as I don't like her. She's in it to win it. She's one of the best that's ever been. And everybody said, wow, that's weird. It's not that hard. As soon as he said it, just go, oh, he knows what she's gonna do for him. He knew it, why don't we know it?
Well, sad day for them, we do know it. And look, Nancy Pelosi was always going to be a corporate tool. And so I don't care if that offends people in Washington. Look, whether it offends people in Washington or not, people all across the country believe that. They view her as an elitist, and I think rightfully so. So I'm not surprised by that. Mark Pocan, okay, whatever, I've never seen him fight for anything, but that's fine, that's fine. Look, I want Mark Pocan to be successful. I want him to be a strong progressive. I want him to be our leader. I don't see it yet. Okay.
I think he was one of the first to sign on getting rid of ICE, if I remember correctly.
Okay, that's wonderful. Now he won't be able to do any of it.
I understand that, I just want to give credit.
Okay, yeah, I understand. But look, why am I tough on Jayapal right now? Why have I mentioned her over and over and over? Because I do believe in her. I do believe in her. And look, they haven't voted yet. But where's Jamie Raskin? Jamie Raskin's awesome. But where's Jamie Raskin? Where's Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley? Where's Raul Grijalva? Where are all these guys? So you can't get 18 votes to protect progressive priorities? So let me talk to you about the last trick. Drew Hamill, Deputy Chief of Staff for Nancy Pelosi, says a vote against the Democratic rules package. Hold on, let me explain. They don't just put up PAYGO. At least they're sophisticated enough to do this. They put it amongst a whole bunch of other rule changes, and the rest of the rule changes are benign. They're fine. There's nothing wrong with them.
Some of them are good.
Okay, and some of them are good, right? So they're like, oh, it's in a package. You can't vote no. I'll tell you how stupid that is in a second. But he goes, a vote against the Democratic rules package is a vote to let Mick Mulvaney make across-the-board cuts, unilaterally reversing Democratic initiatives and funding increases, because it would go back to the old rule of cut go, which is what the Republicans had, which is even worse than pay go. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't, John's right. You know what you do? You propose another bill. Oh, I know. Look, to be fair, Nancy Pelosi's only been Speaker of the House once before, and now will be Speaker of the House twice. What would she know about the rules? Oh my God, you could introduce legislation again, but change it slightly, or allow people to present an amendment. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, that is quite surprising. Now, who do you think you're talking to, you children? We're not the children, you're the children. You're not talking to television pundits. They don't know anything. It's easy to trick them. Besides which, you don't have to trick them. They're on your team, and you know that. Now you're talking to the whole country because of the internet. You think you could just say something stupid like, oh, this will help Mick Mulvaney because I guess it'll be the last vote we ever have in the House, and we'll be stuck with Cutco. Nobody believes that. You're a schmuck for saying that. And so it's not a cute trick, and it's not gonna work. Every progressive out there should right now contact every one of those congressmen, most especially the progressives. And Nancy Pelosi, of course, shouldn't be Speaker of the House. Of course she shouldn't. What did we tell you from day one? She's not just gonna not fight for us, she's gonna fight against us. Against us. Why would we support that person? No, thank you. No, thank you. So they should vote against her for Speaker of the House too. They won't, because it's impolite in Washington. We didn't send you to Washington to be polite. We sent you for our priorities. When I say our priorities, I mean the overwhelming majority of Americans, 70% of Americans are for Medicare for all. And you're gonna kill Medicare for all? And you think it's gonna happen in the dark of night? No, we're gonna shine a giant light on it, and we're never gonna let you forget it.
On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.